Just a week ago, former Defence Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration, Ayanda Dlodlo, became the new Communications Minister after President Jacob Zuma's cabinet reshuffle. Minister Dlodlo will be overseeing different institutions that fall under her ministry, including, of course, right here, the South African Broadcasting Corporation. In December, the nation watched as Parliament's ad hoc committee went through a rigorous process to get rid of or get to the root of the problems at the public broadcaster. The committee folded the process by issuing a report with recommendations. In studio with us, Ayanda Dlodlo, the new Communications Minister. So good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on your position.
Thanks, Leanne.
Did it come as a surprise to you?
It did. It really came as a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, is it something that you've always looked at this portfolio and thought, you know, I'd like to try this one out?
Never have.
Never even looked at it?
Never, ever have.
Yeah. It's amazing because a lot of people, when you were announced, were saying, fantastic, this is the right lady for the job.
I don't know why.
Okay.
But I thought of that if it would happen at any point, it wouldn't be this ministry, any other, because my expertise is in other areas. But obviously, the president knows what's best when it comes to some of these appointments. Because when I saw the kind of messages that came from people, I thought, well, maybe it was the right decision.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck in it because it's a big portfolio, and a portfolio, unfortunately, that's under a lot of pressure and in some trouble at the moment that you've had to hit the ground running. So let's talk about it because you were already this past weekend doing a walkabout in the Northwest, having a look at the whole issue of migration. How did that go about?
That went very well. It was also a learning experience for me, Leanne, because I mean, I've heard people talk about set-top boxes and the digital migration, but I never understood the context of what it actually meant. And I saw it live in Ramatlabama, which was very, very interesting. When you hear people say, we were unable to get certain radio stations, our television networks were very difficult to get, it heartens you when people say, I can now experience the good of communications. I can now experience listening to news, listening to educational programs of the SABC. So it really was a good experience.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the process has been exceptionally delayed, and it's been a very difficult process to get through. So one can only hope now that that things will be sped up because we missed the deadline in 2015. Are you confident that we can hit this 2018 deadline?
You know, I'm meeting with various stakeholders. I'll be meeting with ICASA today. I'm meeting with the SABC again today. I'll be meeting with ICASA as well. I have a meeting with the manufacturers at some point during the course of next week. So I'm meeting with a lot of stakeholders and role players that will ensure that I'm able to effect the implementation of the DTT as soon as we can. We can't afford another delay. And as soon as we were able to meet with people to make sure that all of the legal hurdles and other operational or technical hurdles that have stood in the way of us implementing effectively are dealt with. So those meetings are going to be held.
I think one of the big things, and what I have heard from people speaking, particularly when it comes to this, is that their hope is that now the public's interest is going to be put first, and it's that it's not going to be about the commercial interests and the private interests, and rather the public's interest, because we've seen the former Minister, Faith Mutambi, in and out of court, and all these delays that really are at the detriment of every average normal South African who are missing out on such a wide scope that they can if this process takes place. So I think, again, that's what's hoping that would rest on your shoulders now.
You see, Leanne, I never followed up on what was going on in that space, except what you would have seen, like all of us on television, for instance, on the SABC. But any other thing, really, I'm still new in the job. I still have to read all of these cases, get advice on them, decide on a way forward. But I think the most important thing for me right now is to get the SABC back on its feet, because it is a public broadcaster. Everybody that I speak to says to me, please get that place in order. So that's the most important thing, getting it afloat financially, ensuring that the board is fully functional, but also ensuring that the acting positions are done away with. People must go back to their positions. People must start working. We appoint a new CEO. All of that work needs to be done as soon as yesterday.
Yeah.
If we are really to say we're doing the best that we can, those are the things that we need to implement as soon as possible.
You've had a meeting already with, you did a walkabout, I think, on Tuesday. You met with some of the executives, and I think one of your very first issues was to ensure that the interim board could actually do their work, and this after the former communications minister stopped them from doing their work until they had security clearance. So are we assured they are now working?
They are now working. I'm giving them their letters of appointment formally today, but they had started working, because when I met with them, I just said, it's all systems go, let's start working. And I mean, I've had consultations, I've spoken to the president about this, there were issues around their vetting, I've spoken to the minister for state security, and between the three of us, we all agreed that this is the best way to do it. Let the interim board do its work, and that's what has happened.
Have you had the official handover from the former communications minister? Have you had a briefing with her, especially with regard to SABC? Yes,
we did meet. We spoke about quite a number of issues, and you can imagine that the handover is not going to be over a day. So it was just the preliminary handover. We still are going to meet about some of the things that I really would need an insight on. I mean, one of the biggest issues here, and I think you alluded to it as well, and one thing you would like to see being sort of sort out the financial situation, because as it is, we're sitting in a position now where SABC is working from its reserves. Some of the service providers have not been paid, and the debt that the SABC finds itself in is a dire situation. This must be worrying for you as well. It is extremely worrying. I've had letters from the content producers requesting a meeting with me, saying that they've not been paid. Someone gave me a call to say that Samra would also like to meet with me. So, Leanne, it's been a difficult few days for me. But I think I'm up to the task, and I will do the best that I can to ensure that we deal with some of these issues. Yesterday, I had a meeting with the Minister for Finance to try and sort out the issues of around the financial status of the SABC. And there are processes that we've decided upon that will be implemented soonest. I'm meeting the board and the executive today. I'm setting up a team that will work with the SABC, and it's a team that comprises people from Treasury and some of the people from my office. And I'm sure we'll be able to find a way around this.
I'm going to take a break. Just ask you to stay seated, stay with us, relax, and we'll continue this conversation. The Communications Minister is our guest here on Morning Live. If you'd like to ask any questions or raise any matters, you're more than welcome to get hold of us at Morning Live SABC, and we'll pose them to the Minister. Do stay tuned for the second part of this interview.